Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Post-Fight Podcast. I'm Nick Atkin, your host. This is going to be a UFC Fight Island 8 preview. We're going to make our full card picks and predictions. I will be joined by Chris Edwards-Bailey very soon. Chris should be here in 5 minutes, hopefully. Until then, I'll just be giving you the lowdown on what we do here now, because we are going to be using the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app to make all our picks. So please get yourself over to getfanatics.app. Download the app. It runs you through the whole thing. You can go to the App Store as well. Make your picks, make your selections. Join our SCMP MMA group on there, and you can compare your fight picks with ours, see who wins. There's a league table after each event. It's all good fun. Look, Chris is here now. What's up, Chris? How you been?
Oh, absolutely perfect, guys. Sorry for being late. I was just readying my official post-fight T-shirt.
I'm glad I didn't wear mine then. I was thinking we've done that a few times before, haven't we? Where we just have the same shirt on. Anyway, what's new with you, Chris?
Not much really. Just work from home, rocking on as we are over here. Hopefully on Thursday. Well, it doesn't look like it now. We just got 100 infections yesterday, but I was hoping on Thursday we might get some rollback on those restrictions.
I was hoping to go to the gym again, but that's not going to happen until February now, I guess.
Maybe after Chinese New Year now.
Yeah, so I think they had geared the whole operation towards getting it all ready for Chinese New Year, but that is now not going to happen, right?
No, it looks unlikely.
Yeah, anyway. What are we here to do, Chris?
It's not a bad time to have work from home or to have lockdown, because you know what? We've got a midweek UFC card.
Yeah, it is perfect. It is perfect. Okay, is this one at 1 a.m. again on Thursday morning? Because that last
the main card starts at 1 a.m. and the prelims start at 10 p.m. Hong Kong time.
Slightly better then. Chiesa, Magny. I mean, on Google here, main card 1 a.m. You're right. 10 p.m. prelims. All right, I can stay up for those. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here to do. We're going to break down the card. We're going to make our picks using the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. I hope you've got your picks ready, Chris.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm all ready to fire away with my picks. Actually, to tell you the truth, I've been going through it all, the fight card. It's such an interesting fight card. On first glance, it doesn't look the most interesting. But as you actually get into it and you see what's going on, and you see there's champions from all over organizations, a lot of people with really, really good records, a great main event. I really like the co-main event. I'll get into more of that when we get there, but it's also good to see a fighter from that region that I don't think we've had North Africa, Middle East region ever co-main a UFC event. He's going to co-main. If he can get a few more wins, we could well see a main event soon, especially if they do have an event in the Middle East, North Africa region.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm just trying to find the browser that the Fanatics guys sent me. Here we go. I think this should be it. Okay, let me switch over these events. Some technical difficulties as usual. When do I not have technical difficulties? Keep talking, Chris. I'm just going to do this. Tell us a little bit about the card.
Yeah, well, the thing is that makes the card so interesting is we've got former BAMMA champions, we've got Cage Warriors champions, we've got an EFC champion, we've got a former Pancrase champion, we've got a former UAE Warriors champion. So, you know, we have got people who have reached the very, very top in their respective countries or regions. Some of these promotions are actually much bigger than you can imagine. UAE Warriors is of a really high standard. Cage Warriors and Pancrase are of a really high standard, with Cage Warriors really representing the best in the UK, and a lot of very good talent as well from Scandinavia coming through there. Nicholas Dolby was a former champion. Jack Hermanson was a former champion over there. So they do get these really, really good athletes. You got some really good light heavyweight fights. Compared to last week, we have a few more female fights as well. So all in all, I'm really, really looking forward to it. As well, we've got Mason Jones from Wales representing the UK. We've got Tom Breese as well, who's such an exciting fighter. And Lerone Murphy, so 3 Brits on the card. It's not quite what it was back in the summer with the UFC Fight Islands around there until they pretty much had about 5 or 6 Brits on every card. That seems to have calmed down a little bit. But, you know, once you got your foot in the door, it is a great way to move forward.
Yeah. All right, I'm having trouble here.
Is there any fights in particular you're looking forward to, Dick?
Sumu Durji, I think, is
Yeah,
one we've got our eyes on. Obviously, we do big up the Asian fighters here at the South China Morning Post. We've got to
yeah.
do that, of course. He looked really good out last time out, didn't he? Very good.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
100%.
intrigued. That was the performance of his life, I think.
Yeah,
How do you think
yeah,
he's going to do?
definitely. And as well, it is good. He's out of Embo Fight Club. It's not often as well you get a lot of Tibetan fighters. Obviously, we cover a lot of the Asian MMA over here. You see a lot of when you come to the ethnic minorities in China, you see a lot of Mongolians fighting, but it's nice to see a Tibetan out there based out of Sichuan.
Okay,
So
I finally
yeah,
got it working. We'll get more into Sue Mudurji when we get there. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, sorry, I just had to get the page working because yeah, we are working with Fanatics Fantasy MMA. What can they do, Chris?
oh, it's an absolute super app. You can do your fight picks on there. You can see the Las Vegas odds. You can see what other people have been picking. You get all the statistics, all the records of all the fighters. You get the records not just within the UFC or the major organizations, but they give you full records. I find it better than Topology. I find it better than ShareDog. And it's just been super handy. And the good thing that I like about it is the gamification, because now me and my friends every weekend we're having loads of banter, loads of fun as we try and find out who picks the best fighters in the MMA game.
Yep, look at that ticker down below, guys. Check it out. Download Fanatics at getfanatics.app. You can join our SCMP MMA group. There's a link there. Link in the description. All you need. You can find us really easily on the app. Just join our group, SCMP MMA. We're all in there. I'm there, Chris. Drake, as you can see, is in the group. All the contributors to this channel and to the SCMP MMA, whatever you want to call it, our website, our podcast, all that stuff. Anyone who has anything to do with us, we're all in there. And you can try and beat us every week and make us look like fools. But hopefully, Chris didn't do too well last week. I think you were bottom of the whole group, but
Yeah,
we're going to see we can improve it.
It was a tough. It was a tough round. I got 4 out of 10. It left me bottom. I think the top was 8 out of 10 is our current champion. But that just show you we're with these fights out of the way tonight. So far it's out of 10. We've got 10 fights. I think we've got a few fights on Friday and one championship that should be up on the app. And we've got a whole 15 fight UFC card on Saturday, UFC 257. So we should get a better idea, and it'll only take me to win one or two more, and the top person to lose two, and we'll be pretty much bang even on net. So it's still pretty tight. It's early doors. It's early doors.
It's early doors indeed. Yeah, we'll be back with a one championship preview sometime this week, and then we'll also be back with a UFC 257 preview as well. Busy week, isn't it, Chris? But why don't we crack on with this Magny versus Chiesa UFC Fight Island 8. A rare midweek UFC event. I think they did one in Jacksonville, didn't they? And then they do another one in Abu Dhabi when they first went to Fight Island. So it's still a little weird for me, having fights on a Thursday morning, whether they are here or is it a Wednesday night for us this time? Anyway, let's go for it. Neil Magny, Michael Chiesa. We'll dive straight into this main event. Okay, I'm bringing up. Here is your tail of the tape. As you can see already, Drake Riggs, our contributor, has picked Michael Chiesa already. We'll just let Chris talk you through it first before me and him make our official picks for this fight.
See, this is like most of this night, this fight night coming up. It is so hard on almost every fight to choose who you're going to pick, because there's so many tight fights, and this is such a tight fight between Neil Magny and Michael Chiesa. It's so hard to decide. They've both been up and down really over the last few years. They've got good wins, good losses. Every time they've fought an elite guy, they tended to lose. Chiesa has his most recent losses against Kevin Lee. He has good wins against Carlos Condit and Rafael dos Anjos, but they're slightly faded, may I say. And you've got the same thing with Neil Magny. His last probably really good win was probably Li Jingliang, the Leech. To me, this is an absolute toss-up. I'm just feeling a little bit of a shock in terms of the public. I think people tend to love me at Michael Chiesa. I just really want to go for Neil Magny in this. I don't know why. I think he carries a little bit more power. I think he's more likely to get the knockout. So I'm going to go Neil Magny to win. And then probably not the best thing to do to get that win bonus, but I'm going to go for Neil Magny to win by KO or TKO.
Oh.
And
So
I
you're
am
doing...
going against the majority of people. Only 45 people have picked Neil Magny.
Yeah. Okay, let's explain it as well. On these main events, you can do a triple or nothing, basically, on the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. So if you pick the method of victory and you get the winner and the method right, you triple your points. But even if you get the winner, but you pick the wrong method, you will lose your points. You don't get any points for winning that. Like I picked Max Holloway to win on Saturday, but I said he's going to win by submission. He obviously won by decision and should have been finished way earlier, but that's another thing.
I had Max
Anyway,
Holloway to win by knockout.
And you should have got it.
Yeah. And Drake had Max Holloway also by decision, so he got the triple, and me and you were left with nothing. But it's a good way to end the card. And what I like about this feature of the app is that it really allows you, even if you're 1 or 2 losses behind, if you go into that last fight and you do hit that triple and the other person doesn't, then you win. And it really gives you a little sprint to the line at the end.
Yeah, and our group at the moment, we also playing the rules of against Vegas odds. So you're rewarded, you get more points for picking underdogs, and if those underdogs win, you get more points than just if you play it safe with the favorites and all that. It makes it all a little bit more interesting. But I would like to join you in Neil Magny, Chris. I think I'm gonna go with Drake there. I'm gonna go Michael Chiesa, and I'm gonna go with a decision. I think we're going to have 5 rounds here. Whatever happens, whoever wins. But Neil Magny's been looking awesome his last 3 fights. He has been incredible. But I also think Chiesa's had a little bit of a comeback. As you can see, they're both on 3-fight win streaks. This app is awesome. It tells you all the fight records, all the latest victories, all the details, who they beat and where. You can just hover over. I can hover over these dots here, but in the app, it's a lot more detailed. It gives you everything. Gives you all the odds like this at the top. Chiesa is... plus 115, Magny minus 135, and it tells you as well the consensus, the Vegas bookies. It tells you who Vegas is preferring. It tells you who the people in our group are preferring. It tells you who all the Fanatics users are preferring. So that might just help you inform your decision a little bit more. But anyway, that is my pick. So Chris and I, we diverged a little bit last week, didn't we? It looks like we're going to be going head to head again here with some differing opinions. So
100%.
Okay.
Nick was very lucky last week. He's like Jon Snow. He knows nothing.
Look who's here. JHK in the chat. He's lurking. MMA Math is so convenient. Okay. John is always taking pot shots at us when he's in the comments.
Yeah.
He never dares to say it to our faces on the screen.
Everyone does have to remember he did, what was it, back in October? Did he go, what was it, 0-6 he went on a card?
Yeah, John had a shocker. We've all had a shocker every now and then. So I think that's why John walked away from the preview game. After that night, he had to hang his head in shame. He could no longer. We did the Game of Thrones walk, shame.
Ringing the bells, yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Henry Mallison here asking Chris, do you think they should have stopped the Holloway fight in the 4th round?
Yeah, I think they should have. I think it could have been a doctor stoppage. I don't think there's any point taking that much damage. I mean, you're down at least 2 10-8s and 2 10-9s. It's very, very hard to come back. He didn't have the energy, in my opinion, to really work a takedown and a submission. He didn't really have the energy. I'm not sure if it should have been stopped by the officials. I'm saying if I was even possibly a cornerman, I might have stopped it just to protect my fighter over the long term. I mean, you do think if Calvin Kattar would have pulled out maybe a round earlier, 2 rounds earlier, he'd be coming back in 5-6 months rather than 8-9 months. It might take him to come back, and that's going to in the long term affect his career earnings and his ability to get to top. He is ranked 6. He lost to the number 1, and obviously there is a big gap between there, but you think he's not going to slide down the rankings too much, if at all. And if he can get another win in the year, he's really going to solidify his place anyway. And there is no shame in losing to Max Holloway. Outside of the lightweight division, and John Jones, is he the best fighter in the UFC without a belt? I'd have to say so. In my opinion, that's Max Holloway.
Okay, let's get back to the card then. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back up. Bring up the Fanatics app. We're going to swing over to the left side of the screen here. You got Wally Alves and Munir Lazez in your co-main event. Okay, yeah, Munir Lazez.
Team Nigeria in Dubai, so he's based in the United Arab Emirates. He's a bit of a home favorite here. I expect for the first time, obviously because of the lack of fighters from this region of the world, that we're going to actually have really feel the home crowd and the effects of a crowd again. He's an absolutely fantastic striker. I'd imagine every big hit he can get on Alves, we're going to get a big reaction from the crowd, and it should make for a lot of fun. Lazez is a great fighter. As I said earlier, he's a former UAE Warriors champion. He fought a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show, Sasha Palatnikov, fight of the year contender in 2020 in the UFC, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we're in for an absolutely barnstormer. For this fight, I'm going to go with my boy Lazez. I'm going to big up the hometowner. I think that's what they call it, the hometowner. I think he's going to win. If I had to choose a method, I would probably go by KO. I think it's going to be a really fun fight. But for this one, I'm going with Munir Lazez.
Okay. I'm going to bring up my app here. I'm going to make my prediction as well. Okay. I'm going to join you there. Munir Lazez, just because, yeah, he beat Sasha. Yeah. I mean, Sasha said he was injured in that fight, and he obviously took the fight on very short notice. But he did look very good against him. And he also looked very good against in his debut against Abdul Razak Hassan, is it?
And anyone who watched the Kosuke fight, you can see Sasha has such a fantastic chin, and that will definitely give you an idea, though, of how much power Lazez has.
Yeah, Lazez, this is definitely one to watch for me in the UFC. So I'm picking Lazez as well.
People also remember Lazez's only losses against Levev, who is a guy who fights over in Brave Fighting Championship. And I think his only loss, the guy he lost to, was Khabib Nurmagomedov as well. Munir Lazez is a pretty top fighter. I think it's going to be a knockout, and I don't think it's going to go the whole 3 rounds.
Okay. Well, we're all in agreement there. Drake Riggs, obviously, he contributes to the post-fight podcast. I keep meaning to add some of the other guys who are contributors into this official thing. I'll get it all sorted for UFC 257.
78% of all the people on the Fanatics app have picked Munir Lazez. So he's a strong favorite with the fans, with the SCMP MMA group.
Yeah, he's a strong favorite with the bookies as well here, and with all Fanatic users and SCMP MMA users. Okay. Ike Villanueva against Venicious Mariera, light heavyweight. Who you got, Chris?
Yeah, see, this is such a tight fight. Everything I've gone through, when I've looked at the records, when I've looked at who they fought, I can't look past the Hurricane in this. I think he is the better fighter. I think he's got a little bit more going for him. He's a lot more well-rounded. He's done a lot more at the higher level, fighting in Fury FC. He hasn't won a fight yet in the UFC, but what he's done, going through the Texas regional scene, he has a lot of power. And his last loss, if I remember correctly, was a slightly unfair. Well, not an unfair. It was just a very unlucky doctor stoppage due to a cut, I believe. So you know what? I'm going to go with the guy who hasn't got the win yet in the UFC, and I'm going to go with Villanueva.
Okay. Let me have a little look at these odds here on the app. It's pretty tight, isn't it? Fanatics users are going for Mariera, more of them. SCMP MMA, it's pretty 50-50. Vegas, the odds aren't too strong. I'm going to go with you, Chris. Villanueva.
Okay.
That doesn't make it very interesting.
They don't have that much experience in the UFC, so it is quite tight to call, but I do fancy Villanueva.
All right. Hopefully you're right, Chris. I'm leaning on your judgment here to have another good week in the app.
Yeah.
I didn't do too badly last time, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could have
yeah.
done better. All right, this one. I like this one. We love Roxy, don't we?
I know.
Roxanne Modafferi against Viviana Rojo. Here we go.
These two fights to start the main card are going to be absolute burners. I think they're going to be absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be full of fun, full of non-stop excitement. I love Roxanne Modafferi. She's one of my favorite fighters in the world. But then you've got Viviane Araujo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct at all. I'm terrible with Brazilian names. Um, but the thing is, you should not sleep on her. She is a former Pancrase champion. She had a great record over in Japan, won the belt, headlined events. So obviously Pancrase isn't the same level as the UFC, but she is really used to that level. But then you've got Roxanne Modafferi. She's fought over in Shuto. She's fought in Rising. She's fought in the UFC, got cut, gone to Invicta, gone on a big win. Super busy last year with 3 fights. Won 2, lost 1. We all saw in that Macy Barber fight where Macy Barber was kind of the young up-and-comer, but Roxanne Modafferi just used her nous and all that experience she's got from all those years. I think this is going to be tight. My one criticism of Roxy, honestly, my favorite female fighter of all time. I love everything she does on social media. Whenever she does tend to fight those top competitors, there always seems to be a bit of a skill gap or a slight differential in what they can do in their athleticism. And I just think she's just outside that top echelon. And in a real toss-up between me, I'm going to go for Viviane.
Yeah, Viviane is a heavy favorite with the bookies here, as you can see, minus 340.
On the Fanatics and the SCMP, it's pretty even.
Yeah, it's almost 50-50 for Fanatics users. I mean, I've got to go. 47% of people have picked Roxy, and 53 have picked Viviane. 53% have picked Viviane. So, Roxy obviously trains with our guy Sasha Palaknikov over at Syndicate MMA. So, as a friend of the show, I'm going to pick Roxy. I know that's not the best way to do your picks. Anyone who is making a parlay, do not follow that method. I can't go against Roxy. All right. We got a comment here from George Sharoma saying Holloway beat McGregor. I don't know about that. But is that like talking about their past fight or wanting to see him fight McGregor? I don't know, Chris. Would you stick Max in if something happened to Poirier or McGregor for that main event, like he offered, or would Chandler or Hooker, one of them, get the
I think it would be Chandler and Hooker. I think it would be too much to make Max Holloway fight that close together. Max hasn't, in the Poirier fight anyway, he did not show to carry his size up very well. Look, Holloway has a chance against Conor McGregor, arguably more than he does against the Poirier or Gaethje, because their cardio is not as good as Max's, but pretty close. Max has never been knocked down. Max has a iron, steel, diamond-plated, golden chin that just seems impervious to any destruction. And if Conor can't pull him away, it does make you think, because Conor does tend to tire out a little bit in the 3rd and the 4th and come back in the 5th when he does have to go a long time. Max Holloway could start to really piece him up. I think it would be a great fight. I think it would be super exciting. But I'm not sure if Max Holloway is totally done yet at featherweight.
Okay, let's go back to the card.
One day we will get a lightweight run out of him.
Dana did say Max is 145, and that's his home. I don't think Dana's up for seeing it. And as you said, he didn't carry his size too well. Stilo B saying we want Max versus Conor at 155 or Conor v Masvidal at 170 super fight. Yeah, would you like to see that Conor Masvidal fight? It was teased a little bit, wasn't it, Chris? When Masvidal was coming off that huge year before he went and lost to Kamaru Usman. I don't think the Conor fight is there anymore for him because Conor looks like he's committing to lightweight again. I think if they were going to do it, the time was last year because Conor was kind of in limbo, wasn't he? And he could have fit in a super fight or two, and it wouldn't really have affected his title ambitions.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Conor at the moment should concentrate on 155. I think to me that's definitely his natural weight class. He looks small for 170. Yeah, I think Masvidal might just be too big for him, but then he could just go in and smoke Masvidal because Conor is just totally capable of that. The issue that you do have a little bit with the welterweight division right now is that you've got um, the top three, arguably, are all wrestling or jiu-jitsu based in Burns, Kobe, and Usman, the champion. And if I was Conor, I'd wait until you get a favorable matchup for the belt, maybe. But I don't really see any point to go up and be ranked fifth or sixth when you can be ranked number one in your actual division.
Yeah, thank you everyone for all the comments and questions. If you've got any others, please just leave them in that group there and we'll answer them in between the picks we're making for this Magny versus Chiesa fight card. One more here from Rex Johnston saying there's no way that Holloway will have a similar performance against Volk like Chiesa. Yes, Chris, do you think that was just Max, like being Max, or was there an improvement there? You saw him. The one thing I would say is maybe after a couple of back-to-back camps without having any contact sparring, I think that's improved Max's his head a little bit, because there were times when Max would come into fight week and he would sound. It was a little scary hearing him talk. Sometimes he'd be slurring his speech. I think the Dustin Poirier fight, he took a lot of damage, didn't he, in that one? He seems to be a little bit clearer of mind now. And maybe that could be the difference if there is a Volkanovsky trilogy. And obviously the confidence he would have gained from that historic beatdown he put on Keita. I mean, the stats Max threw up were insane, weren't they? He smashed a lot of records which he had already held, but he completely smashed them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You know what? The one thing I can say, I rewatched the fight this morning, and I was looking at some of the statistics on Fight Metric. That's the most elbows and knees that Holloway's ever thrown in a fight. And if you actually look at it before the Volkanovsky fight, he didn't actually use his elbows that much, and particularly the last two fights, he started throwing more. That could be something new he's added to his game. Remember, this guy is 29. In the top 10, he's the second youngest after Yair Rodriguez. And he's still probably not in his prime, and he's still evolving, and he is getting better. Obviously, he's not going to do what he did to Qatar against Volkanovsky, because there's a reason Volkanovsky is the champion. And he clearly beat Max the first time, 100%. And then there's a disputable decision. I don't care the way the decision went. I would like to have seen a draw. But yeah, he is getting better. And pretty much everyone knows that 1 and 2 is Volkanovsky and Holloway. But I think Volkanovsky wants one more fight, and then maybe we'll get the trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we may end up seeing them fight 4 or 5 times, because I think Max will get the next shot. I think Volkanovski's going to beat Ortega, and then I think Max could get a decision against Volkanovski. He's more than capable of it, and then I think they'd have to give Volkanovski another rematch. And look, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Their fights have all been really good. I mean, the first one was a real dominant performance, I think, by Volkanovski. The second one was an absolute tactical chess match. Loved it. Anyway, Stilo B saying Masvidal used to fight at 155. I'm sure he'll go back down for Conor. Yeah, Chris, I mean, Masvidal struggled. I know it was a very short notice to make that weight cut last time. It was 20 pounds in the week or whatever. He has said, I think, before, I would consider going back down, but it would have to be the right fight. And you've got to imagine there's only 1 or 2 people down there who could entice him to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, my only issue here would be Benson Henderson, Lorenz Larkin, both those fights were at welterweight. And he's fought at welterweight since then, and that was back in, I think, 2015 and 2014. Masvidal's 36 now, so he was making lightweight when he was 30. I don't know how his body's changed. I don't know how his metabolism has changed. I don't know how far he'd have to push himself to make 155, and whether he'd lose any of his signature power in a move down. And maybe you'd see it as a catchweight, but I'm not sure we see a move down today.
All right, let's get back on the card then. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Keep them coming. Any questions you got? Yeah, thank you. And everyone, remember, like and subscribe, as always. Anyway, back onto the card. I'm going to change that. That's the last one. We already picked that. Let's go down. Lerone Murphy and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Featherweight. Okay, Drake has picked Lerone. Who you got,
This is
Chris?
going to be an absolute bomb burner. Jerome Murphy, the miracle, the chosen one, Manchester top team, fighting out of Manchester. Fantastic fighter, fantastic Muay Thai and kickboxing background. Still fairly young at 28. You know what I'm like when it comes to fighters from my part of the world. I tend to pick them. Jerome Murphy has always looked impressive. I thought he was maybe a touch lucky maybe in the Tsukurov fight back in June, July, somewhere in the summer out of Fight Island to get a draw there.
Yeah, that was in September.
September. It's in Hong Kong that summer anyway. It's pretty hot here anyway. But yeah, I'm going to back Jerome Murphy. I think he's going to do it. And as I've said, the first 3 fights on this main card are absolute bomb burners. It will be blink and miss at action. And I think they're both just going to go forward, throwing fists, throwing kicks. We might see some claret all over the cage. Who knows? But expect this one to be a good back and forth. And if Jerome Murphy can get mount, if he can dominate, if he can put together his combinations, I can see this being a win, and I can see him moving, hopefully getting towards those UFC rankings. So hopefully we can have another Brit in there.
All right. Make it official. There you go. Yeah. Chris is now swung over to the left. Just a reminder, you get the app, you get all this data you see on screen, but this is just something, the browser that the guys at Fanatics have mocked up for me to use during these shows. The app itself is far more detailed. It's got everything like the Vegas bookies, Jerome Murphy, heavy favorite to win, isn't he, Chris? And all Fanatics users, it tells you everyone on the app who's picked who, might help you inform your decision. 74% of users on Fanatics have picked Jerome Murphy. That gives you a good idea. It's also a pretty similar story in the SCMP MMA group, which you can join very easily on the app. Just download the app at getfanatics.app. That is the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. You can join our group on there, and you can do all your picks. And we have a league table. You can go up against me and Chris and everyone on our channel.
Yeah, what's also good is you can join the group. You can go against everyone on Fanatics. You can join SCMP MMA and go against everyone here. But then as well, if you've just got 3 or 4 friends back home who are into it, you can start your own group and league table with them. Maybe you say whoever does the best over the end of the month buys everyone else dinner. I don't know, but it allows you to do that, and that's what I like. I've got one group for the SCMP people, and I've got another smaller group for my friends outside of that, and it works perfectly.
Oh, thanks for
the invite. I'm not doing good in either group.
Didn't invite me to that group. Yeah, and you get the fighter records in the app as well. I can click on Jerome Murphy's name here. It tells me everything I need to know about his record, who he's fought and when, and how it all happened. Same for Silva de Andrade. It's really cool app. Looks very sleek. I am going to make my pick there, though. I'm going for Jerome Murphy as well. So there's a hat trick, Drake, Chris, and I. Another reminder, I will get the rest of the group, the SCMP MMA contributors, all verified, so to speak, whatever, and all their picks will show up on here. As if that might help you make your pick. I don't think it will. Definitely don't listen to me, guys. I'm not the guru at all. Definitely, I think you should listen to Chris. Whoever Chris picks is probably a better shout. Despite his shocking performance last week, he actually got a bunch of picks right. Yeah, and also we play in our group by the against the Vegas odds rules. You can set up a league for another rule set, which is just pure who wins and losses. The only problem with that, you tend to get a lot of people getting similar scores. So the leaderboard there's a lot of draws and things, like 5 joint winners each week. We thought we'd mix it up because there's a lot of people in our group, so we wanted clear winners and losers. Here we go. Another comment from Mr. Stilo B. Let's see what he's saying. Apart from Nate Diaz, 3, what other mega fight does Conor have at 155? Michael Chandler. Khabib is retired. I think Masvidal would sell out more than anyone else. He's the real BMF. Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think there's some kind of element, Chris, isn't there, of them? If Nate Diaz is going to fight Justin Gaethje, that potentially determines the next challenger. If the belt is on the line for McGregor and Poirier, let's say Khabib decides to walk away, Oh, it wouldn't be, would it? Because he's going to make his decision after the fight. Well, maybe, the Gaethje Diaz fight could determine the challenger who will fight McGregor or Poirier for the title. But you've also got Chandler Hooker in the mix. I'd love to see that trilogy. I do think Masvidal and McGregor would sell over 2 million pay-per-view buys. It's probably one of the biggest fights the UFC can do, isn't it, Chris? Outside of Khabib Conor.
100%. The thing is that Nate Diaz fight, I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. I get the feeling Conor treats it a little bit like a Money in the Bank fight. If he ever goes on a 2-fight skid or something like this, and he's a bit further away from the title, he's still got that third fight with Nate Diaz, which he can main event and maybe get a slightly easier win. And maybe retire off into the sunset or something like this. I think right now Conor's actually just concentrated on trying to get the belt back. I think he doesn't actually care about mega fights. He's had his mega fights. I think if there's a mega fight he wants, you probably get 30 million if he fights Khabib and 100 million if he fights Pacquiao. So I think the mega fight he's probably looking for is probably beat Poirier, beat another 2 fights this year and get the belt back, and then use the belt to leverage himself into a boxing match with Manny Pacquiao.
All right, Rex Johnston, another question here. Chris, thanks for your question, Rex. Is Buckley good enough to crack in to the top 10 at middleweight, or just hype? I think we talked about it a little on our recap, but Buckley's got some work to do, hasn't he?
He's got a little bit of work to do, but we've seen it in a few of his losses. It's more just a lack of concentration, a loss. He doesn't really control the cage well. There's stuff that can still be added to him. I think he's still 26 years of age. I can't remember. Let me just double check. Oh, yeah, he is 26. Thank you, MMA Fanatics. Such a good quick app for getting me there. He's 26 years old. He's got a really, really good opportunity to push forward. He's always got stuff to add to his game. He's not even close to his prime yet. He's years away from his prime. So don't expect to see the finished article anytime soon, but I can definitely see him cracking the top 10. Maybe not in 2021 as some people were predicting, but maybe towards 2022, towards the tail end of that year. It is a possibility. But you know what the fight game's like. It is a young man's sport. It keeps changing all the time. And all you ever need to do is see is a lot of talent signed from around the world, and it can really knock people down. I mean, you go back, 2 years ago, Cerrone was ranked in the top 10 in 2 divisions, and now he's not ranked in either division. It does show you how quickly stuff can change.
All right, back to the card. Let's do it, Chris. Okay, the flyweights: Matt Schnell, Tyson Nam. Who you got?
See, this is another one that I keep on going about. This is going to be back and forward, non-stop. These two are so hard to really differentiate between the two of them. I really like Tyson Nam, top guy. Obviously, probably good friends with Drake and John, being based out of Oregon, and I know they're West Coast boys. So I'm not surprised to see Drake go for Tyson Nam. I'm going to go with Tyson Nam. I've liked everything he's done in the cage. I think there's something really cool about him. He's got some awesome character, something marketability about him. Fairly handsome guy, if I may say so myself. So, I'm going to go with Tyson Nam in this one, and I'm going to lock it in.
Yeah,
but don't sleep on Match now. They're both very, very good top fighters.
Yeah, 70% of people are with you, Chris. 70% of Fanatics users have picked Tyson Nam. I'm going to join them. I'm not going to be too brave on this one. So, as I said, we play versus Vegas odds in our group. So, even if I do get this pick right, I may not get too many points for it. But I think it's a safe one for me. I don't get underdog vibes here. So, I'm going to play it safe. Tyson Nam. All right. Yeah, as we were saying earlier, if you pick the underdog and the underdog wins, it pays off for you in Fanatics Fantasy MMA. You get a lot more points, obviously. It's just like you were betting real money, which we don't in Fanatics. There is no gambling element to it, but it's all just fun. There will be a prize element to it. We'll be sorting out prizes monthly and things like that. The Fanatics guys are working hard on it. Anyway, let's get back to it, Chris. I'm going to roll down this card here.
And what's
Okay.
also good on the Fanatics apps is you can get links straight to all of our videos, fighter interviews. And what's also good is in our group, but also in other groups, you're more than welcome. There's a message feature so you can message everyone. And if there's a fight you don't know about, feel free in the group to ask to shout out me, Nick, Drake, John Yonko, Andrew Whitelaw, and we'll give you a tip and say who we think, because remember, we're based all over the world and we see a lot of regional MMA. So someone fresh in the UFC you might not know about, one in the group might know it. So there we go.
Yeah, certainly listen to Chris or Drake or John or Andrew, but don't listen to me, anyone, please. I'm just the host of these shows. I follow the crowd a lot. I just listen to what Chris says and then I go with that half the time, unless I've got my spidey sense tingling. Anyway, how about this? Bantamweights, Ricky Simone and Gaetano Pirello. We don't have a pick for Pirello here, sorry. It is a work in progress, this app and this browser. So anything you see on the app or here doesn't make any sense, just flag it to us. I can send it straight to the guys at Fanatics. They'll fix it all up. But anyway, Chris, tell us a little bit about it.
We have El Tigro Pirello. I think, if I'm correct, he fought about 7-8 years ago back in Cage Warriors in the UK. I think it was a Birmingham show, but I can't really remember it completely. It was quite a while ago. He's not fought in the UFC before. He is making his debut. I don't really know much about the signing, how it happened. I don't know if it was a last-minute signing or something that's been working on for a long time. I mean, Ricky Simon is a top fighter. He has been in the UFC for a much longer time. He is coming off that split decision win against Ray Borg, who is a top talent anyway. He's maybe slightly on the down. He has not been so active lately, Ray Borg, but we all understand what's been going on with his family. And, you know, looking at the odds, Ricky Simon is such a heavy favorite. And you know what? Sometimes we're surprised. Everyone didn't think there was any chance that Platnikov, this Russian fighter out of Hong Kong, who fought in Korea in the United Arab Emirates, of him coming over and doing damage. But I think sometimes people forget how good some of the talent is outside of the UFC. And obviously, almost every fighter comes from outside the UFC originally. And as well, the way the app works with the gamification of the Vegas odds, I'm going to try on this fight and game the app. So I would assume I'm going to go for Pirello. Even though I think Simon will win, I'm going to go for Pirello in the idea that if he were to lose, I'll lose less than if Ricky were to lose. So I'm going to try and game it. I'm going to try and get a big outsider to really push me up that league table.
I'm 100% with you, Chris.
Yes.
I'm going for Pirello. I think, as Chris said, this could pay off big for us, and there have been a lot of underdog upsets lately. I mean, look at last weekend's cards. The first 3 fights, I think the underdogs won on the main card. Yeah. And yeah, when I backed them, it gave me a little boost. That's why I finished quite high up, even though I picked 5 fights wrong. But yeah, here we go. 90% of users have picked Ricky Simone on the Fanatics app. I think a lot of that is maybe just because Pirello doesn't even have a picture. And maybe you know, who's this guy? He's nobody, got no picture. Yeah. But look, see what if you think Ricky Simone is gonna beat this guy, by all means pick it, but the return may not be too high in terms of points on the gamification, as Chris said. Anyway, we got some comments and questions here, Chris. I'm gonna throw them out. Just going back to Buckley, Arthur Antonio and Wen said, I think personally Buckley's a bit small for middleweight. Do you agree with that?
He's not the tallest. He's got a pretty long reach. He's not the tallest, but I wouldn't say he's the smallest. I don't know if he could cut down, though, because he is super thick and super jacked, just super wide-bodied. And I do know he has struggled in the past to make that cut. Not that he's find it difficult, but he's not a very easy weight cutter. He has to cut weight pretty much on the day, is what I've heard. Okay. Yeah, I think that's off Amphio win. Agreeing with me there.
Yeah. Cedric, Justin, Alcasaber, watching from the Philippines. Hello, Cedric. Hope you're enjoying it. Salamat. Download Fanatics Fantasy MMA app, Cedric. Join our group if you're not already in there. And then we're going to have some We got UFC 257 as well this weekend. We got one championship. If you like Team Lakai and all those guys, we're going to be doing all the one championship cards and picks for the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. I think Lito Adewang is fighting on Friday, isn't he, Chris? He has had a change of opponent. Figueredo is now out, so I can't remember exactly who he's fighting. But we will be doing a full one championship preview.
I think that will be tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. We've got to figure it out. It's 3 events this week we're covering. It's pretty difficult to figure out. Anyway, Stilo B back with another question. Do you think it was wise to let Conor fight Mayweather? From there on, he started asking mega money. If he never would have went into boxing and made 100 million, Dana White could have controlled him better.
I'm going to say I think it was a wise decision by Conor to do it and get paid what he's actually worth. From the UFC's business point of decision, it's probably not a good thing to do. But to tell you the truth, I'm more for the fighters than the organization. I'm an MMA fan, not just a UFC fan. I want to see fighters get paid, and I want to see them have a great time. And I want to see them get what they're worth, because, you look at Qatar and, if he was a professional boxer going 12 rounds and taking such a beating, it probably wouldn't have gone the whole time. It probably would have got called off. He probably would have earned something in the millions rather than the 100,000s. But I just want to see fighters get paid. That's the most important thing. As long as we get the same quality and we can get them paid more, I'm all for it.
Okay. Yep. Cedric saying one championship for life. Yeah, we are one championship fans. As you can see, I got this giant boxing glove. And I've also got some of the MMA gloves there. So don't worry, we got one covered as well on this channel. Not just UFC. We are based in Asia, most of us. So we do cover one. We do cover Ryzen. We do our best to spread out a little bit. We don't do too much Bellator, do we, Chris? But I hope one day we will. Anyway, back to the card. Let's get back on these picks. Fanatics also has Bellator, by the way, in case you fancy Bellator.
Bellator 1, UFC they have, and then as well they will be adding some special events from the world of. It's not just going to be MMA. It might. I've heard that they might have some K1. They might have some Ryzen. Any big events from outside that they will have.
All right, yeah, we're going to wrap up the rest of the card quickly because Chris needs to get out of here. His girlfriend is teaching a class. She needs the computer. So let's run through here quickly.
Love you, Sophie.
Yeah. All right. Dalcha Lujambula. I hope I pronounced that right, against Marcus Perez. Let's go, Chris. Who you got?
I mean, look, I looked up as much information on. I don't know. It's such a hard name to say. Lungiambula. I'm going to have to quickly type in and find out a nickname because it's too hard. Our champion is his nickname. That's very easy. I know he fought very, very well in the EFC. He fights out of South Africa. He won the belt in EFC, defended the belt over in EFC. So he's a solid fighter. He has one loss in the UFC, a third round loss. Hasn't fought for 2 years, been out with injuries and other issues. It will be good to see him back, and I think he's going to win by knockout. I think it's going to be vicious. He's the much bigger middleweight. I mean, he is a touch shorter, but he has the bigger reach. But I mean, just look at those two pictures. One guy looks like someone you see in Gold's Gym shredding iron, and the other guy looks like a guy selling mojitos on a beach in Thailand.
He's out of American team though, so I'm sure he's no slouch. But
he's no slouch. He's no slouch.
I'm going to join you though. I'm going to go for Daicha. 72% of users on the app have picked him. The odds aren't too big for me to think it's worth gambling on Marcus because, as we said, it's versus Vegas odds. Our rule set. I'm playing it safe here, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, let's go down. We got a few other fights. I didn't realize this card is so long. So, guys, if you have comments and questions, I will get to them at the end. But Chris needs to go soon, so we're just going to race through the rest of these picks, and then I can hopefully hang around, answer anything if you've got anything. All right, Suma Durji. We were talking a little bit about him at the top of the show against Zaruk Adashev. Who you got, Chris?
Oh, this is such a tough fight. Zaruk, I mean, don't be fooled by his record. He has fought in some of the top organizations in Russia. He's very, very well spoken of. he lost his first fight, which I heard was a bit of a flash knockout, and then he kind of got dominated from there. Sumijeri, fantastic. You know, we are the South China Morning Post. It is good to see another Asian fighter in the UFC. And this will be, I think, his fourth fight overall. He has one loss against Louis Smolka in the UFC, and then he's won his next two fights after this. It's going to be hard fighting out Endo Fight Club based in Sichuan province. An ethnic Tibetan, the first ethnic Tibetan to fight in the UFC. You know, this is if you're not from inside China, this is where all the monasteries are, all the monks are. A great history of martial arts in that part of the world. So, you know, I'm going to go with my heart and not my head. I'm going to go with Sumu Jerry, and I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a barnstormer, and I think it's going to go 3 rounds. And I think, especially at age 24, the only way is up for this fighter. And we are starting to see more and more Chinese fighters break into the UFC, getting on win streaks now. And they're starting to do well. Actually, probably now Chinese fighters are doing better than British fighters, apart from in 1 or 2 cases. But yeah, I'm going to lock in my pick then on Sumu Jari.
Yeah, I'm joining you with the Tibetan Eagle, Su. It's a heavy favorite on the app. Vegas bookies as well. 92% of users, Chris, have picked him. So not many people giving Zaruk much of a hope, and you can see that reflected in the Vegas odds there. Again, though, if you fancy potentially getting some huge points out, you could back Zaruk, and then if he wins, you're flying up that league table. I think the way our game is set up. So let's keep going, though, Chris. Francisco Figueredo against Jerome Rivera.
Yeah, this is another really tough fight to call. Sorry. Francisco Figueredo is a top fighter. He joins the rights of Figueredo in the UFC, Paulo Costa, Vitor Belfort, of a former jungle fight world champion. Moving over to the UFC, we've seen so many of them do well. It is right now the premier organization in Brazil. To win those belts, he got a draw defending the belt out last time. He probably wanted to avenge that, but when you get called to the big leagues of the UFC, sometimes you just have to go with it. I love his last name because Davidson is my favorite fighter right now in the UFC. Yeah. For everything I've seen of this guy, watching video of him, of Francisco, he's got really great personality. Actually, he's good on the microphone that I've seen in Brazil, but he seems like in Brazilian Portuguese, but he has a lot of energy. With this, I'm going to go with Francisco Figueiredo. Looks like it's going to be tough. I'm not going to go with Jerome Rivera. This is one I'm agreeing with Drake Riggs on. I'm going to go for Francisco Figueiredo. I'm going to lock that in now.
All right, I'm going for Jerome Rivera, and 56% of users have picked him on the app. He is not preferred, though, by Vegas. Figueiredo is. But another thing that can help you with all your picks, we have interviews with a lot of the undercard fighters, John Hyunko, JHK. He speaks to a lot of these guys, not many other people speak to. And he did Jerome Rivera last week, so sometimes that helps you make your pick and figure it all out. And I liked what I heard from him, Chris, so I'm going with Jerome Rivera. What about this, though? Mike Davis and Mason Jones out of Wales.
Well, see, this is what I said is so exciting about this card. For everyone who doesn't know, who's not a fan of UK MMA, Mason Jones is a top undefeated prospect from Wales, from a great fight team. And what we've got to remember is he's another former Cage Warriors champion on this card. I mean, we've just gone through it so far. I think we've had 5 or 6 champions from other organizations. It what makes it so great. It's what makes it so fun. I'm going to say Yakida, that's cheers in Welsh. I'm going to big up all my boys in the valleys. I'm going to go for Mason Jones to win this. And yeah, another one. Good to see another British fighter there. And hopefully he can stretch to 11. And I think it will make it in the UFC of all the fighters who are double digits and I think it will mean 2 out of the 9 will be from Wales. Actually, I was going to say the UK, but just from Wales, I guess.
Yep, I'm going to make my selection using the fantasy app Fanatics here, and I'm going to pick Mason Jones as well, and my name is going to swing over to the right there. Davis preferred by Vegas, so yeah, might get a little nice return if Mason Jones wins. Okay, let's keep going quickly. You've got a few more fights just to get through. before Chris heads out of here. Umar Nurmagomedov. Khabib is here to corner him against Sergey Morozov.
Yeah, see, this is so hard to call. Umar, obviously, cousin to the great Khabib, part of that great family. I think they did fight a few years ago back in the PFL. I might be wrong there. He's got a 12-0 record. He's just like his cousin, I guess, that he's got the O and no one's been able to take it away from him. I feel like a lot of people are probably sleeping on Sergey Morozov. Pretty solid fighter. He's a former champion over in M1, which is a huge organization for anyone who doesn't know that. He's got a pretty good record of 16-3. He hasn't lost in about 4 or 5 years. And especially when you look at the odds and Morozov being a plus 400, I'm going to once again try and gamify the app, and I'm going to go against Nurmagomedov, which I've done before, and it's never worked out for me. I feel like the percentage, I've just looked at it. It's 84% with Nurmagomedov. I'm going to give Morozov some love. I'm going to stick my neck out on this one, and I'm going to back Morozov.
I like what you're thinking, Chris, and I would, if you get that right, it's going to pay off big for you. I just feel I cannot go against Nurmagomedov. I'm going to play it safe. It won't get me much of a return, but it will get me some pride and some honor with a correct fight pick. I think, as you said, 84% of people have picked him on the app, and he's heavy favorite with the Vegas bookies. So, if you guys want to gamify the app and maybe get a risk reward system, Morozov could pay out big for you on the app and in real life if you do that sort of thing. Get your parlays out. Okay, Victoria Leonardo and Manon Fiorot women's flyweight bout. We don't have pictures again for these guys. Sorry, I believe it's because they have not fought much and there's not any pictures out there for us.
No, Victoria Leonardo. She was in the Contender Series earlier, late in 2020, October, September time. She had a good win, second round, ground and pound. I do not know much about Manon Fiorot. Is that she's French. This is going to be a terrible decision by me, but just when I Googled, I think she won when Sasha won on UAE Warriors. That was kind of like an elimination fight for who would go into the UFC. But when I Googled up Victoria Leonardo, I was pleased to see her in a Goku shirt and being a big fan of Dragon Ball Z. I'm going to put all my chips in that one single basket and put my neck out there and go. Oh, I just looked at the bookies odds.
Yeah.
Oh, 64% no. And I'll go with Manon Fiorot.
I'm going to go with the bookies here. Yeah, 64% of people. You can make all these selections on the app, guys. Fanatics Fantasy MMA gives you all the info you need.
Really cool narrative there on why I'm going to go for someone. And then I remembered all the tweets, all the text messages, all the screen grabs of my standing at the bottom of the table. And I thought, no, this time, let's use the information provided on the app a little bit more and follow a little bit less the heart.
And not who's a Dragon Ball Z fan. Okay.
Yes.
All right, the opening fight. This should be a fun one, the middleweights. Omari Akhmedov and Tom Breese.
Well, see, what's really odd about this is I had this, got told a few days ago that this was going to be the opener for the main card. Then it got pushed down to the opener of the prelims, which is a bit of an odd one because Tom Breese is a little bit of a big name. He's had a little bit of experience in the UFC, and obviously with it being a fairly friendly time for fans in the UK and Ireland, thought it would have been a little bit higher up. I think this is going to be a super tough back and forward fight. This is kind of Tom Breese, I think, was his last fight. He's fought most of his career at welterweight. He's going up to middleweight to fight Omari Akhmedov. You know what? Everything I've seen from Tom Breese over his whole career back in the UK, I've really liked. His grappling, it's absolutely fantastic. I want to say he's a black belt, but he might not be. But his jiu-jitsu is fantastic. 4 years ago, he had a fantastic back and forward fight with Sean Strickland, training partner to Sasha Platnikov. That's one of the 2 losses on his record. And I've seen videos of Sasha and Sean sparring. Everyone knows Sean is a top guy, a top fighter in the UFC. That is what is just going to make me favor Tom Breese.
All right, I will. I mean, Omari Akhmedov coming off that loss to Chris Weidman. I'm tempted to pick him. Breese is favored.
It's really hard because Omari Akhmedov probably has a little bit more power. Tom Breese, you don't know how bad his preparation for this fight has been because he splits his time between fighting in. I can't remember. He's got a team in Birmingham and he spends a lot of the time over in Montreal with Faros. But I don't know how easy it's been able to keep up that regiment during the pandemic. So I think it probably evens out a little bit more. But I'm just going to back my countryman and go with Tom Breese.
I'm going for Akhmedov. Okay, there it is. Official picks have all been made. Or has it? Yeah, I didn't press it properly. Okay, that's it. That's the whole card. Chris has to dash off now. Thank you for joining us, Chris. I really appreciate that.
And we'll has anyone got any questions? I'm just inviting my girlfriend to set up now. If anyone has a single question, do you have anything in the chat?
Nothing in the chat. A bit quiet today, but I can hang around if anyone has a question and Chris heads off. Otherwise, we will be back, I imagine, tomorrow to preview One Championship. Unbreakable.
Tristan Shoehouse said Mike Davis versus Mason Jones is fire, and it is fire. That's one thing I'd really like to put out here. You go through the card and you think, what could be a potential fight of the night? You look at the main event, Magny Chiesa. You look at the co-main, Alves Lazez. Modafferi, Araujo, it has great possibility. And then the ones that really excite me is Nam and Schnell, Murphy Andrade, Ricky Siemens usually in really good fights. We've got the light heavyweight fight further down, Mason Jones, Mike Davis as well, Rivera, Figueredo. We could be in for a really, really good night. I don't know if anyone else has found it, but particularly in these pandemic days, has anyone else found that the weaker cards, the less known cards, have had the more exciting and better fight nights? And sometimes you just get these wild prelims.
Yeah, we'll be here with a recap as soon as it finishes. Maybe doesn't seem too late. I might still be awake. Are you planning on staying up, Chris?
Quite possibly. I've got Thursday off, so it's not too bad. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping as well. There should be a lot of knockouts because hopefully if there's a few knockouts, we can move that main event forward a few hours earlier from about the 3:30 a.m. it will be on in Hong Kong. If we can get that down to 2:30 with some quick finishes and exciting fights, it'll be absolutely fantastic.
All right, cool. Well, let's leave it there, Chris. Always a pleasure, always an honor. Remember, guys, go like and
subscribe. Most importantly, download this app. Join the group. Let's see if I'm bottom for another week. I think, Nick, you were ranked 20th out of 37, so solidly mid-table. We had Jasmine Blaze in at number 2 from the podcast group. We had, I think, Drake was ranked 7th or 8th, so some of us have done well. Most of us have done well. I've just done poorly, been holding the team back, but hopefully that will all change this weekend. And if anyone disagrees with what I've said today, you can get in the comments and argue. But why not get on the app and really prove me wrong?
Yep. Just click the announcements tab at the bottom to enter the chat group, and you can give us some stick, whatever. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again tomorrow for the One Championship preview. Then we'll be back maybe Thursday or Friday for a UFC 257 preview, and there'll be recaps and all that jazz. It never stops on SCMP MMA, but